A Dating Guide 1. Chapter 1. Dating Issues. Marcel Proust's questionnaire from the 19th century. daringtolifoli.com/Proust-questionnaire. Fill out the questionnaire to help reveal a person's true nature, their lovers or a friend's. What is your idea of perfect happiness? What is your greatest fear? Which historical figure do you most identify with? Which living person do you most admire? What is the trait you most deplore in yourself? What is the trait you most deplore in others? What is your greatest extravagance? What is your favorite journey? What do you consider the most overrated virtue? On what occasion do you lie? What do you dislike the most about your appearance? Which living person do you most despise? Which words or phrases do you most overuse? What is your greatest regret? What or who is the greatest love of your life? When and where were you happiest? Which talent would you most like to have? What is your current state of mind? If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? If you could change one thing about your family, what would it be? What do you consider your greatest achievement? If you were to die and come back as a person or thing, what do you think it would be? What is your most treasured possession? What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery? Where would you like to live? What is your favorite occupation? What is your most marked characteristic? What is the quality you most like in a man? What is the quality you most like in a woman? What do you most value in your friends? Who are your favorite writers? Who is your favorite hero of fiction? Who are your heroes in real life? What are your favorite names? What is it that you most dislike? How would you like to die? What is your favorite motto? Be more primal than cerebral. A big romance faux pas that guys and girls alike do is that they talk so much about academic and honorable things that they portray themselves as in control, rational, benevolent intellectuals, such that it would look stupid after all that if they suddenly became primally romantic, interested in purging their sex drives. Maybe you're so nervous you talk too much. Talk less, smile more. Be more relaxed. It makes you look cooler and more natural, and you won't look like a clod when you suddenly get romantic, unlike the philosopher king who's painted himself onto an honorable throne such that he can't all of a sudden get primal without looking like an idiotic hypocrite. If you come on too civilized, how are you gonna get primal when the sex part starts? We're all primal and sexy underneath our mask of civilization. It's better to act kinda dumb and pleasant than act like some suave educated character, because when it gets down to it, true attraction is all primal. A lot of girls are looking for guys with money to take care of them, but in those cases, it's not about love, so they will pay for it in other ways, like a lukewarm life together. Women are generally quicker than men in the kind of ideal image they should have out in public, so they've taken the image of the modern, successful, independent happening babe and ingratiated it well into their collective ideal of femininity. And even though many have sexy facades but aren't sexy in the real world with real men beyond that, women in general are what they are, horny people, just like men are horny, who want good-looking men to fuck the shit out of them in a macho, gentle way. The thing is that a lot of women, just like men, put on these civilized fronts such that they don't come off as sensuous, nor can they be sensuous when being romanced. They have these mental blocks associating sex with something negative, bad, and forbidden. They're told all their lives to not give up the good, so when they reach maturity, many can't do it freely. Despite what they are on the outside, women are just as horny as men on the inside and secretly want manly macho-looking studs to deflower them, but then the real world hits. Your job as a noble man is to be pleasant and good-looking enough on the outside to arouse this desire in women such that they want you to engage them real hard, like they dream about when they're playing with their vibrators. Women don't want another girlfriend, which means a soppy, sensitive, politically correct guy who reads frivolous women's magazines and tries to imitate the sensitive stuff in them. They want a nice enough guy, but in their fantasies want some male primal thrust. They're not some domesticated nerd, the so-called metrosexual, the stylish GQ guy, brainwashed by the system to act like some soppy clone in GQ magazine, but the paradox is that they want the studly alpha male as a boy toy, but they want the GQ working stiff as a husband and social showpiece because he will look good to their friends and family. Real girls want a real man without all that psychobabble brainwash making up his personality, but those limited type college sorority girls who don't know the real world want those upper middle class pretentious guys who have never done a hard day's manual labor nor ventured out of the comfort zone of their father's money. You can generally divide the capitalist world into two subgroups, those that are real and those that live in TV reality, trying to imitate all that cutesy stuff they see in sitcoms because this is the extent of their lives. If you're a guy and want sex, don't beat around the bush. Make your signal perfectly clear. She's a big girl. She knows what's going on, she can either pursue it or cut you off. She's got that power over you, and if she chooses to open her legs up for you, it's your job as a man to give her good hard sex with gentleness, not a lame attempt at trying to be something you're not, a wimp trying for sensitivity. Be natural. Don't worry about it. Go with the flow of what you feel inside. Men might be liberal enough to want an equal woman, but when it gets to sex, they feel an intense need to conquer the woman sexually with a primal thrust, and the woman is wired to want to be taken hard, so in order to have great sex, two people have to let go of all the psychological mind games and baggage and go at it like two people going for the pure zipless fuck. That's the way to please a woman, act like a gentle but strong tiger in the bedroom. Men and women alike are equally afraid of each other. They have all these preconceived notions that get in the way. Be nice, be simple, go for pure passion with what you really feel and don't play games. If you're hot and bothered and want sex, be a man about it. Make your intentions perfectly clear. You don't have to be ignorantly direct about it, but kiss her and caress her like you mean business and go from there. The roles have changed somewhat for some of us. Some men have become sensitive wimps, some women, assertive sex spots. It's great to break away from traditional roles, but don't deny who you really are. Be a strong, firm guy. Be a feminine girl who shows she likes to get fucked, and you can't go wrong with a real guy who wants to fuck you. The talk shows and frivolous magazines have made us all a bunch of soppy psychobablists, especially the over 35 crowd who were brought up on this stuff in the 80s, but what I'm saying is don't get too deep and soppy with the chick, leave some of it at a primal level so you can be real when it comes down to doing it. If you talk to her real sensitive like, it will mean you will have to play that role when you fuck her without being your real macho stud self. Don't be confused with all the messages the media sends out about what it means to be a man or a woman. Listen to yourself. Be more primal than cerebral and you will do fine. Keep it simple. There's always a perpetual man shortage for women. There aren't enough of the kind of guy they really want, a nice guy with some macho looks who acts uncomplicated, not too deep, and likes to give the girl pleasure as much as he likes his own pleasure. Be like this, dress like a nice guy, have a steady job and a car, show some chest muscle. To her, your chest is the male equivalent of you being attracted to her tits. Talk without swearing, and you should be able to find a fair number of available single women willing to let you into their sweet valleys. Let them have their feminist, equality rights, but when it gets right down to it, act like a manly guy in the bedroom. Take charge, give them good sex, then hold them tight in your arms and they will love you for it. Women are primal too. They want some big studly guy to hold them tight and protect them so they can then make a fuss over him about being his girl. That's what real women want, a feeling that they spiritually belong to some alpha male. If you're a woman who wants to bond to a man, don't deprive of his need to feel like a man to you. Let him be a man and initiate kisses and hugs with you, let him feel like stud in bed, and let him feel like he's your protector by snuggling up to him after you make love. It makes him feel manly. If you deprive him of this by trying to act like some liberated girl trying to dominate him sexually, some men might like it for a while, but men want to feel like they're the solid rock of support for the girl, so they want to feel that you enjoy laying with him in bed while he smokes his proverbial cigarette and acts like the caretaker saying everything's gonna be alright, honey. Booze on dates. If your date is drunk, If they're really out of it, get them home safely and leave them hopefully in the care of someone, because people have died through alcohol poisoning when friends mistakenly thought they could sleep it off. If you try to take sexual liberties with an intoxicated person, that's a criminal offense of rape. If the drunk person is with it enough to be obnoxious with you, walk away and leave him or her there. The only way to get sober is to sleep it off. Drinking lots of water, going outside in the fresh air, or eating lots of food won't help much. It takes time for the booze to filter through your system. When you feel your first buzz, you've probably already got enough unprocessed booze inside of you to make for a good enough buzz, and if you drink much more, you will just feel queasy and lose control, so slow it down then. Don't do anything stupid like drive, pick a fight, or jump off a balcony because you feel invincible now that you're drunk. Nobody's really that stupid. It's all an act, so don't feel the need to act drunk and stupid. Eat before you drink if you don't want to get too drunk too fast. The body has to absorb the food as well as the booze, but after you're half cut, it doesn't matter anymore. It can only get worse before it gets better. Don't mix your booze. Beware of strangers giving you a drink that could be laced with a tranquilizer to knock you out so they can rape you. If you're not interested in a guy and he offers to buy you a drink, refuse it to get rid of him. Vomiting is good because it lets the unprocessed booze leave your system. Acting drunk is a good way to get out of a bad date. Calling a girl up. Guys still get a girl's number from the phone book that they barely know from school and call her up out of the blue, asking for a date. It's gutsy, but I'd say get to know her at school first. Guys get hassled by the cops for stalking when they call girls they barely know or the girl doesn't know them. First you talk to her in real life, then if you become superficial friends, you can call her. Otherwise have the guts to approach her in school and ask her out there. I can offer advice as an old guy that nobody is really that worth it that you should call them out of the blue and ask for a date. You don't know anything about this person. It's not smart or not cool. Back in the day, it was cute when Greg Brady phoned some girl asking for a date on the TV show The Brady Bunch, but nowadays girls are scared shitless, even if they go to school with a guy. One of my buddies told me some girl accused him of stalking her because he phoned her up. The cops came to visit him. In movies, the message is to go after the girl no matter what. In real life, stick with interactions in the real world. Don't send a letter, email, text, or call someone you barely know. It could get you in trouble. If you meet a girl, talk, then get her phone number right there. If you really like her and she gives you her number, don't put it off. Call her that night. The longer you wait, the less likely you will call. Most guys will keep putting it off because they're so nervous. It all depends on her response to you when you call. If she's friendly, you got her for a date. If you wait too long, she might cool off to you. Don't keep calling then hanging up because it will probably show up on her caller ID. If you get her voicemail, just say, "Hi, it's me, Jack, the guy you met at the metro. I'll call you tomorrow." She's got your number from caller ID. She might call you. If you call her twice, get her answering machine and she doesn't call you back, forget it. It's up to her to make the next move. Girls are nervous too. If she really likes you, she will call you, but if she doesn't, she'll make excuses for herself not to call. If she calls you, make small talk, let her say what she wants, then ask her anything like if she wants to go for a walk, a milkshake, a movie, etc. right now. Casual dating info. Pick one attitude with which to date and stick with it. Everybody will respect you more for sticking to your ideology. Looking for love. Looking for a good time. Myself personally, I don't believe in casual dating as an approach to looking for love, a mate, or for something else missing in one's life. I believe that when you're looking for a relationship, you should only go out with people you feel are worthy of you, people that you realistically think you have a chance of marrying because of a spontaneous, initial attraction. Why waste time with others? Even though I say elsewhere it's a chance to practice dating and possibly network into meeting the friends of you date, that's the conventional view I got from somewhere else. My own view is to just go out on a date if I'm really attracted to someone and seriously interested in a relationship, which I and a lot of people aren't at any given time. As far as looking for casual lovers, I believe the ethical thing to do is to target your search on people who are like this and don't waste time trying to snare other people in, pretending to fall in love with them in order to get sex simply because there are plenty of people of both sexes and orientations looking for casual sex for education and pleasure. Besides, I hate to hurt people emotionally, so if I was with someone who I sensed wanted a serious monogamous relationship with me while I didn't, I would cut it off right there. There are plenty of low-class, middle-class, high-class drug-interested, adventurous, fun, party-type girls out there interested in casual sex for reasons other than love, such that you don't have to bother with the more traditional, good girls out there looking for love. If I want to be with a girl casually, I've already checked out her attitude. I know that she is willing to be casual with me. I know she has it in her to be a fun girl without a serious agenda. On the other hand, if I see a girl somewhere that I'm attracted to but don't particularly want to fall in love with and get married, I can usually tell the type of girl she is by look. In at least 90 out of 100 cases in America of girls under 33 years old, the typical middle to upper class girl is looking for love, so why bother hurting her feelings by attempting to go out with her if your motives are not sincere? Despite all the stuff you see about casual dating and promiscuous lifestyles in the media, this attitude and lifestyle is only popular among a small segment of the population. Most young girls want love. If a guy is not willing to give his heart to her only, don't ask her out on a date. For the casual guy looking for the fun girl, talk to her for a few minutes to determine if she likes to catch a buzz, then suggest you catch a buzz together, which is wholly different from asking a girl out on a date which you both presume is to check each other out for love's sake. I don't play at dating. I either pay for sex, which is why I believe in legalized prostitution, I go to swinger venues where people are looking for casual sex, or I meet a girl somewhere and quickly assess with that intuitive radar that we should all have whether she's the monogamous type or the more easygoing, loose type up for transient casual sex. If I sense she's not, I don't waste my time or her time. If she's looking for love, I don't add any emotional fuel to the fire by leading her on. I'm out of there. Bebo.com/safetytips.jsp, meeting offline. Smartdate.com, dating safety. Chapter 2. Dating issues 2. Dating and feminism. Aren't women prudes if they don't and prostitutes if they do? Kate Millett, 1975. Western girls are so feminist and active like males, which is why Western men like Asian girls. Asian guy. Women have lately been trained to be feminists, but they still got that double standard mental block about being sluts if they come off too sexy liberated, so a lot of them stay sexually conservative. Men should realize this about women and give them some slack. Even though they love sex, many girls still have mental blocks about it, so don't expect every girl to be as free about sex as you. When you get right down to it, past the feminist aura of the New Age era, most women, by a massive majority, harbor the traditional values of meeting a nice guy somewhere, having good times with him where he respects her, going through the marriage ritual, then she becomes the housekeeper in charge of the house, has kids, and gradually gets away from the career route to take care of the family while the husband is the breadwinner. Almost all women under 30 really want this, so keep that in the back of your mind with any girl you meet, no matter how liberated she may appear on the surface. There are some hardcore militant feminists out there, but most are fat and ugly. There are some young party, hedonistic girls out there experimenting with life and sex, looking for a good time, but even they hope to score with a nice guy who'll marry them. Most women want a guy to marry them and take over as the leader of their little family. Men are generally commitment phobic, but a lot of women over 35, especially after being divorced once or twice, are now taking the role normally reserved for the free-spirited guy. They want a guy to come over once or twice a week, have a good time together, then want to be free without the hassles of a full-time relationship. So whereas 20 years ago, This demographic was rare. There is that subclass of women living like that now, happy and single after failed marriages, interested in a casual relationship with a guy or two for transient sexual escapades. The modern man is supposed to be more sensitive than before and treat the girl with kid gloves, and they can handle that you shouldn't be a totally primal caveman, rather an intelligent sensitive caveman. But the problem starts when women try to burn the candle at both ends by being a feminist independent babe who wants to be protected by a strong guy at the same time in the traditional way. This sends men mixed signals, and because a lot of girls are so schizophrenic about it, they turn off to women. Men want feminine women, not feminist women. They don't care how advanced and successful you are. It's fine to be these things, but don't flaunt them in your guy's face when you're around him. Be his friend in a simple, uncomplicated, unpretentious way. Don't be on edge all the time looking for him to belittle you as a woman so you can lash back at him. Go easy with him. He just wants an easy, relaxed time without all the psychobabble. You can be who you are as an independent career woman, but if you want some guy to love you, take the edge off yourself and be more feminine. Let him take the phony edge off that he was brainwashed to be, a sensitive wimp, and let him be more masculine and quiet with you. Some men like to talk, but a lot are too tired after a day of hard work. They just want to quietly enjoy their lover's company. So in conclusion, the guy should be more masculine, less politically correct, and the girl should act both traditional and independent around the guy, but not like a feminist. Be a feminist all you want out in the real world, but when you're with a guy, try to preserve some sense of romance and feminine mystique rather than being a loud-mouthed, liberated babe crusading for your rights. Guys like girls who like sex, but if you're too aggressive about it, it loses some of the aura a man wants about being a solid rock of granite with a soft feminine woman. This is what the modern era has taken away from traditional love, the woman letting the guy step in, be manly, feel needed by her, and the girl responding in turn by acting feminine with a bit of mystique, not so open, worldly, and liberated that the softness, hence the atmosphere for romance, is gone because the guy is thinking she's acting so advanced that he feels coldness in her aura and thinks that she will think he's a corny dud, so he ceases to be romantic with her except for trying for straight equal sex, which is what he assumes she wants when she really secretly wants that sweet old-fashioned romance, but her outer exterior is too liberated to let it show. If you come on too strong and too independent, men don't feel the warmth, so they're not interested. They're not really intimidated, as the feminists like to say, it's just that they want warmth and some sense of feminine softness and vulnerability, and if it ain't there, it don't matter how rich she is, how big her cosmetic tits are, or how bleached her hair is. If she doesn't come across with this intuitive warm feeling of being a nice soft feminine bundle of beauty and joy, real men won't be romantically interested. They might want to have casual sex because they assume you're sexually liberated, but you're not the kind of girl they wanna be with for any length of time as marriage material. Dating questions. Ask yourself the following questions in order to learn about yourself and the person you're dating. Analyze yourself on the following dimensions, then analyze your date on them. They're meant to be used as a rough guide to help you see if you're similar to each other, but not as a non-negotiable checklist of must-haves. Does compatibility on these traits matter to you, or are you more intuitive, accepting the date for the total essence he or she is? Many people can't. They need someone who has a college education, drives a certain level of car, makes a certain amount of money, dresses a certain way, has a certain level of pop culture coolness, etc. If this is you, it's not based on love, or maybe you're not capable of true love. Education. Career. Socio-economic level. Physical look and height of each of you. Beauty/handsomeness of each of you. Physical vitality or lack thereof of each of you. How masculine is he? How feminine are you? Are you sharing of your time or more solitary? Age of each of you. Are you equally romantic, open, playful, sexual? Adventurer versus homebody. Talker versus quiet. Need to be in control versus mutual partnership. Moody versus stable. Strong and independent versus weak and unfocused. Optimist versus pessimist. Easygoing vs. Serious. Health conscious, healthy versus not caring, possibly sickly. Friendly, sociable versus solitary, likes to work alone. Pet loving versus not wanting pets. Hobbies, interested in doing things versus sitting around, watching TV. Political ideals. Race/ethnicity. Spiritual values compatibility. Children. Feelings about marriage. Would you like to date yourself if you were looking? Do you look at the outside of the person and disregard the inside? Do you have a sense of humor? Can you carry on a normal conversation without your ego getting in the way? Can you smile a real smile? Can you understand someone in a real way, and do you want to try? Do you enjoy your work? Do you have any serious, passionate interests? If you suddenly won $10 million, what exactly would you do? Do you feel you're comfortable and warm to be with? Why or why not? Do you think intimacy is necessary before sex, or is it good for fun and to get to know each other? Are you an approachable person? Do you look approachable? Check your dating style. Do you sound like an interviewer or a friend? Do you ask yourself if he will look good enough to your friends and family status-wise, or are you more concerned if it's a heart and soul connection? How much will you bend for love if you must in order to accommodate her? Are you afraid of losing your freedom, or are you ready for love? Do you feel a strong need to be understood by your partner, or are you happy with a superficial love, just going along living life? Are you serious love material or more superficial casual fun material based on how you act? Are you so bubbly and fun that you're too good to be true, phony, or are you more real, relaxed and down to earth? Are you too critical and want too much, like a checklist of attributes your partner must have? Can you accept people for who they are, or do you always feel a need to manipulate and slash or criticize them into changing somehow? Are you in a romantic illusion of the Cinderella complex, or do you have some sense of reality to you? Do you feel you care about each other? Are you alike? Do you feel like you're in Eden when you're with him? Are you relaxed with him, not trying to hurry the love along in order to get married? Do you mutually share your lives with each other? Can you help each other learn and grow? Do you feel a strong inherent connection between the two of you? Do you project your fantasies onto your date and don't see who they really are? Do you think your date will magically change your life for the better? Do you feel emotionally safe with each other, as though he wants what's best for you and is not trying to hurt you with embarrassing questions or a power play for control over you? Do you feel good about yourself? Does he make you feel good? Are you needy, exhausting, dependent, flaky and too demanding, or do you let the relationship develop naturally as a matter of course, not too strong like a rocket that fizzles out very quickly? Are you desperate to control your dates or have them fall in love with you? Are you looking for a romantic friend or something else not quite as romantic? Do you feel that there's a visionary union between the two of you? Do you each have a special feeling for each other? Do you have any secrets that he would be surprised to find out down the line, or are you pretty much an open book? Is there unconditional love, or is one less committed than the other? Does one feel the need to control? Don't be too open too quickly, it scares people away. Don't profess undying love right away. Say you like him or her a lot. They might not reciprocate your feelings for them or think you're desperate if you come on too strong too fast. Go at your date's pace. Reveal yourself here and there as you do things. Be attractive and low-key, like you're having fun together, not interviewing each other. The thing about your past is that it doesn't really matter. All that matters is now. Don't talk much about your past or your big life problems. Don't be too aloof. Just be straight up. Say, this is who I am. That's it. No endless psychobabble. Speak more with actions than gabbing all the time. Be together. Do things together. Be caring, loving and kind. In order to fall in love, a lover needs to feel that you respect him or her. Enjoys your company. Loves you. Don't say you love him or her until after a month of dating. Try not to be too intense. Always be relaxed and light-hearted when dating. Don't playing hard to get. If a girl plays hard to get, she could be truly not interested or attached, but many such women have been taught that playing games with guys to make them appear extra special and a challenge is a good thing, but a lot of guys these days don't go for it. If you play hard to get, they will just move on to the next one, or at least I will. I'm not gonna take crap from any girl trying to play me, no matter how beautiful she is on the outside. A girl with a truly beautiful soul wouldn't play me with this hard to get crap. She would be straight and honest with me as I would be with her. There is a philosophy among some women which I've read about in a number of frivolous magazines, which leads me to conclude that this must be the latest fad going on among so-called liberated women about how to treat a man, or more directly, how to snare a man. They surmise that if you show you care and start expecting things from the guy like some kind of commitment, you will beat yourself up when he doesn't call you up or come over every time you expect him to, and all guys will not meet up to your expectations of them. This is a given according to some women. I agree that if you show love to a guy, some guys will take advantage, assume you love them, and either lie footloose and fancy-free thinking you'll always take them back, abuse you, or simply neglect you and think you will always love them. But I think most guys looking for love who have some maturity, experience in life, over 28 years old, know that if they get love from a girl they're really interested in, they will cherish it and give it back. But there's another matter of which there was a book written about, which I've covered elsewhere in this book, which is that if the guy doesn't think you're special, beautiful, and stunning right off in minute one, it's not love. Love may develop based on friendship, but if you give off effort in pursuing him, he might go out with you for sex, to use you as a tool to learn more about women, which guys do even though they don't admit it. He might genuinely fall in love with you over time, but more than likely, you will be a bus stop in his life, and when he sees someone who really stuns him in minute one, he'll go for her and leave you. Anyway, back to this counterintuitive vibe of playing hard to get, like you don't care if the guy calls you or not, even if you secretly do, as an approach to get the guy interested in you. I've been around enough bitches, gold diggers, capitalist consumer clones and phonies in my life to know that outer beauty with inner crassness equals nothing in the love department. What sane man is gonna go after some uppity bitch who thinks she's all that playing hard to get? Nobody on the planet is that worth it to me. I want somebody real who wants to be with me as much as I want to be with her up front. I want with somebody with genuine emotions, not somebody playing games. If you play this hard to get game with me, you've defined your character to me, uppity bitch who thinks she's way worth it. What kind of life would I have someone like it? I say be real. If you don't sense a guy loves you in minute one, why bother? If you sense a guy really likes you, you had better like him back and show it. If you play hard to get because you think the guy will be intrigued and wants a chase, you won't get me chasing anyone like that, and I'm willing to say most sane guys will think to themselves, what a stupid, uppity bitch thinkin' she's all that, livin' large, thinkin' she's a queen goddess in a frivolous women's magazine, and move on. First impressions really matter. First impressions really matter because time is valuable and finite. I can't waste too much time looking for a gem in the rough. Wear your heart on your sleeve to me right now or I'm gone. Tell me what your intentions are clearly. You don't have to say it. Communicate it through your body language. Do you really like me for real? Do you see me as a meal ticket, or am I just a generic guy who'll alleviate some of your loneliness? If you're a girl, don't play wishy-washy with a guy you really like. That's what the knucklehead said who wrote a fad book in the 1990s, which I won't name to avoid accusations of slander, but it's the same story with some other knuckleheads who wrote a book that you could summarize in one sentence: he doesn't dig you. Reverse this idea for the girl. If you dig the guy, don't pretend you don't. A woman's big mistake on a first date is Cinderella. Yes, I just said show him you like him if you do, but be tough too. Don't make a jump to marriage and family right away. Don't make assumptions. You'll scare him off. Let him know you like him, then be strong enough to accept it if he doesn't call you back. You have to wear your heart on your sleeve, and if the guy doesn't bite, Say to yourself it's his loss and keep going. Women's expectations are through the roof. It's partially the fault of TV, movies, and women's magazines. Some guy on TV had the title of prince from his family of Italian origin, but the guy was a cosmetics salesman. There's reality and fantasy. Most guys live in the real world. They're not thinking of themselves as knights and princes. They want a friend in the real world, not some stupid, naive broad who thinks she's a princess. If you come off like a prime donna, either one of two things will happen to you. You'll marry a wimp who doesn't mind being dominated if you take care of his lazy ass. You'll end up alone. If you color your hair or you're a guy who wears an earring, you're sending out the message that all is not all right within yourself, because if it was, you'd be happy as you are the way your God created you to be. If you can't present yourself as you really are, then I'm not interested. I can understand some young girl with a good heart who's been mildly brainwashed, but if you're still doing this stuff after 25, you ain't strong enough to be yourself, and I don't want to waste my time. Before you ever go out on any date, have an honest talk with yourself to get rid of all your self-delusions, then try to become who you want to be. It's very easy to be critical of other people. Keep your mouth shut. Don't criticize your date, which I've seen some girls do, trying to be playful, and don't badmouth other people. If a guy splits or doesn't call you back, don't pursue him. Everybody knows the guy makes the first move and the next move, so if his next move is no move, don't embarrass yourself by going after him. Don't talk too much. When you start talking too much, you say things that don't make you look good. You either sound vain or you put yourself down. If you offer advice, try to change some guy or control him, any real man will leave you. Guys know when they're being used, but some stay because it's better than being alone. If you start dating a guy and you gain weight and stop taking care of yourself, the guy will leave you. Guys want a girl who takes care of herself. Be good and kind. If you're nasty and elitist, it will show through, but all is not lost because nasty elitists are good for each other. Find an arrogant jerk like yourself and you'll be fine together for a while. I believe that men in general intuitively know real self-respect in a woman. Noble women earn a sense of self-respect through what they do every day. Everybody else is faking it with that fake attitude you can see on any music video with some snot-nosed phony thinking she's acting real cool, but she's really making a spectacle of herself, selling her soul for some deluded idea she has of glamour and fame. Life as lived is day by day, down to earth, so don't go trying to create some uppity glamorous image for yourself, because enlightened people know that life is the same for everyone except for the few who create transcendence through hard inspired living. Everybody else is at mundane, so just because you're dressed trendily doesn't mean you got that elusive spark that only a few people got. Excess is bad on a first date, trying to show off, acting too wealthy, too wise, too cool. On a dating show, I saw the guy take the girl to his mansion because he was trying to impress her. They had no reason to go to his house, then they went golfing. He said he needed a piss, so he walks off about 10 feet and pisses in front of her. The girl saw it as arrogance. That was the end of it. His mansion didn't impress her. His character was that of a nerdy redneck. No amount of money in the world will help a loser find true love. He'll find women who like his money but don't love him. They call them sugar daddies and kept women. Another first date on TV has this guy taking a girl on a helicopter ride, which is a bit excessive for a first date, but they're up in the plane and he's trying to kiss her. She's trying to be nice, but it's way too much too fast. From the girl's point of view, if you put out and give the guy sex right away, he thinks she'll probably do that for any guy. He loses respect for her. I'm all about being yourself, but be your best self. On a first date, anything can spoil it. You have to get some emotional connection points built up before you reveal some of your controversial points. If you're a cheapskate, left-wing hippie type, don't reveal it right away if you want somebody to hang around. Act like a generic nice guy or nice girl without extreme behaviors or attitudes. Nobody's perfect, not even you. You better lower your expectations and polish some of your not-so-hot habits. If you give off a desperate vibe, you're defeating the whole purpose. A relationship is supposed to fill out an otherwise happy life, but if the other person realizes you're not a happy person, it's a big red flag. I don't want to take somebody on with serious life problems. Don't get drunk on a first date. It makes you seem weak. Unconditional love seems impossible, but that's what you want. If you want it, you have to inspire the sense of love in someone you really like. Love is help, encouragement, and support. Be like that on a first date. Life is not extremes. Most men aren't princes, but they aren't frogs either. You have to live in the real world and know that men have faults, but it doesn't mean they're all dogs. Don't come on too strong, have a prima donna or bad, cynical attitude, don't act like a drama queen, don't act like a timid wimp, and don't act stupid like all you know is pop culture. Don't try to control him or pamper him too much. Don't make yourself up to look high maintenance, like you're a China doll who looks perfect and don't want to do anything to ruin your look. Don't talk about past baggage. Don't take things too personally. It's just a date. The worst thing that can happen is that there's no love connection. It's not like you're sacrificing anything but a few hours of your time. Don't live in a delusion of getting married as if that's the mission and the guy or girl is secondary. If you're consciously looking to find someone to marry, that becomes the obsession, not living a great life and finding a great mate incidental to you living a happy life. It's wrong to aspire to want to get married and not really care to who. Marriage changes nothing about the inner you, so don't marry someone just because you want to be married. Wait until somebody reasonably compatible comes around. If you meet a nice person but they seem hesitant even though they're single, back off. They might really like you, but other things come into play like money, self-respect, and pride. If a guy has got nothing and is struggling to earn a living, he's not going to want to show anyone that. He could be impotent or have other issues like a gambling addiction or something. If you feel lonely and miserable, it shows. Don't run a date like an interview nor like a movie scene. Just be basic and let conversation flow naturally. Don't attack with endless questions about monetary worth and ambition. Don't take liberties. Don't act like an old chum with someone you barely know. People get insulted when you do that. Silence is good. You don't have to talk all the time. Keep basic manners. Humor websites. When a woman laughs, you have her in the palm of your hand. Telling a joke is a risky venture because if it fails, you fall flat on your face and will be embarrassed. It's all about timing, building up momentum and getting the momentum right. Keep the element of surprise right up until the very end. Don't rush it, take your time. Don't tell long jokes unless they have a very strong punchline. Don't use corny, outdated jokes that most people have probably heard before. In order to tell the joke, it has to be a good joke, so get a few joke books, find some good ones and practice them. Books about stupidity are at #081 or BF431 at the library. The humorous literature section is number 817. Humormall.com. Ranks.com/home/fun/top humor sites. 101schlongs.com. 3-stooges.com. absurdgallery.com. afunnypic.com. arfarse.com. amiannoying.com. amused.com. bestofhumor.com. bigron.com. blackandvy.com. bonaroom.com. board.com. bravenewworkshop.com. capsteps.com, political. cardhouse.com. cathouse.org/pub/cathouse/humor. collegehumor.com. comcentral.com, comedy. comedy.humbiac.on.ca. comedycentral.com. comedyfest.org. comedysports.com. comicstriplive.com. corzinet.com/braincandy. cs.odu.edu/cashman/humor.html. cyberzalt.org/cleanlaugh. DarwinAwards.com, DougStanhope.com, EdmontonUKS.com, eTune.com, Funnies.com, FunnyBusiness.com, FunnyFunnyPictures.com, Funny-Shit.com, FunNewYorkTimes.com, Gagpipe.com, News Satire, GeorgeCarlin.com, GirlyJokes.com, Gluckman.com, GoHumor.com, Gookball.com, Groundlings.com, HaHaHa.com, Hecklers.com, Humor.com, HumorDatabase.com, HumorMatters.com, HumorProject.com, HumorNet.com, ILoveBacon.com, Jokeaday.com, Joke-Archives.com, JokeIndex.com, Jockeyland.com, JokesForYou.com, Joking.com, KidHumor.glowport.com, KidsJokes.co.uk, LaughingMatters.com, LaughLab.co.uk, LaughStore.com, LaughterYoga.org, LooneyBin.com, American Comedy Institute, ComedyInstitute.com, Humber Comedy Center, humber.on.ca/comedy. Chapter 3. Dating Issues 3. Meeting the Parents. I only fall in love with the one person. I don't have to like her parents or her family nor be cordial to them in a phony way, especially if the old man gives me the snobba treatment and asks me a bunch of silly-ass questions as though he's interrogating me for a job with the CIA. Nor do I like the other extreme of the old man playing me for a typical one-dimensional guy and start talking about some characters in the NFL, which bores me silly. Be real with me and I will respect you. Be fake with me and I will shut off. The book of Genesis in the Bible says the man leaves his parents and goes off to be with his wife, and the wife does the same. I can be blandly polite with anyone, but I won't try too hard and be stilted and phony. If they can't accept me for who I am, I don't care. She has to choose between me and her parents. What we do together is really none of their business. I will only be as cordial as the old man is. If he gives me the snub and the interrogation, I will tell him I'm not interested in his questions, it's none of his business. If you're at least 10 years older than your girl, the old man generally won't like that and will try to split you up. It's up to your girl. Let her decide. Don't be too nosy yourself, don't ask too many stupid questions, don't make it a big deal, don't hug or kiss them, just shake both their hands. Don't bring flowers to people you don't even know. If you're going for dinner, you could either bring a bottle of good wine or a nice store-bought cake. Call them Mr. or Mrs. Unless they specify otherwise, don't get too close physically nor talk too wise. Don't try to come off like some manufactured clone out of an etiquette book. If you can't be yourself, you're nothing. Bland niceness is worthless because it's fake. Don't be too personable. Older people are generally conservative. They want someone with some restraint like them. They don't need a loudmouth whippersnapper around acting like hot stuff. Be a middle ground of pleasant small talk and silence. Silence is better than taking liberties with someone you don't know, acting like some pop culture smart aleck out of a sitcom. If you like them, invite them out to your place or a family restaurant for supper next Sunday night, then slip them a couple of tickets for their own date to a live theater play in your area. If not, it's no big deal. Your relationship is to your girl, not anyone else, not even her family. If you don't like them, don't try to take their girl away from them. That's her business. She can have her relationship with them, you will just stay out of it, not go around when she goes over for a visit. If they're being cool, play along. Wait until they invite you to sit before you do, stand up at the kitchen table and wait to sit until they do, play with the pet, answer the bland questions that aren't too personal, don't drink too much so you won't have to go to the bathroom, say one or two nice things about the nice house and drop the compliments, then thank them when you're leaving. Most girls will not leave with a guy she meets somewhere. Most girls are looking for one guy period, not casual sex. If you meet a girl at some social event or a bar, don't ask her to leave with you. Ask for her phone number so you can call her. She knows that if you really like her, you can wait a day or two. Simultaneous dating info. Simultaneous dating is simply a term to describe the rights a single person has in this day and age to date as many people as they want all at the same time. If you plan to be exclusive, to date only one person, to be an item so to speak, tell them in clear terms that this is what you want, otherwise you're gone. If you're dating someone, don't lead them on if you're dating other people simultaneously. It's your right to do that, but at least tell the person that you're single, and until you're married or in an agreement to be dating exclusively with one person, you will be constantly out there checking out the action, dating other people. The arguments against it is that it's not possible to give your all to more than one person at a time, but this is not necessarily, and it doesn't matter anyway when you're exploring your life. You give different people as much attention as you and they want. Forums.plentyoffish.com/dating posts 2934857.aspx. Local10.com/dating/2613856/detail.html. Teen girls often have more than one boyfriend. Sleepover/dating with kids. If you have kids and want to go on a date, for a light one, you can invite a babysitter or friend to your house to watch them for a few hours, but if the date has the possibility for hot romance, clear them out of your house by offering them a sleepover at grandma's, a friend's house, the babysitter's house, etc. Give them enough money for pizza and pop or to go to a movie. You can also invite your new lover over and all have a party together where you either go out somewhere or stay home and get pizza and pop, then afterwards they go to bed and the two of you retreat to your room. Up until about the ages of 8 to 10, children might not suspect that two people in the same bed are having sex like you and your lover, but for anything over that, you have to let them know in a subtle way that you're in love and sleeping together, and put an inside latch on your bedroom door. Chapter 4. Dating Issues 4. The Politics of Dating. Women give and give and give. Men make one gesture and think they're equal. Melanie Griffith to John Goodman in the movie Born Yesterday. You can cut off a man's head if a man be a bachelor, sir, but if he be a married man, no, for a married man is a woman's, for to cut off a married man's head is to cut off a woman's head, and I cannot cut off a woman's head. Shakespeare, Measure for Measure. The battle of the sexes on a societal level is alive and well, even if beneath the surface. Men have the power, they build the buildings, create products, and control the wealth. Women have entered the workforce but are generally paid less, and very few are in management or entrepreneurial positions. The ones in leadership positions are often there for token reasons or are in traditionally women's businesses and are still in a man's world despite how successful they get. In general, women have a kind of kinship in a man's world where they're a minority, and even though it may not seem like men have this kinship, they too are reacting against this feminization of the workplace with their demeaning comments designed to keep women in their place as sex objects and domestic housekeepers. Girls play house, family, and marriage all their lives while men play sports and video games until they're teenagers. Then they learn about sex, not necessarily love, after which many follow the cultural ritual and seek out marriage even though they may not really be in love monogamy style. They only do it because they're playing society's ritual. Girls, on the other hand, are brought up to revere marriage and family. They have 100 or more magazines dispensing beauty and love techniques, TV talk shows geared to women and their friends who talk to them about their most popular subject, guys, while men have maybe a few fitness magazines that are only now starting to talk about relationships, no talk shows geared to their relationships, and when they talk to their friends, it's about functional or lewd things, not relationships with the opposite sex. What it comes down to is that women are generally more knowledgeable, experienced, cunning and manipulative in the relationship game and use it to their advantage, often to get the guy they want and what they want out of the guy without him even knowing it. So to this end, the female gender has defeated the more powerful male gender, only it's behind the scenes with subtlety and tact. First off, as discussed elsewhere, The attractive females often choose from the pool of men who they want, then give him the flirty come on signals until he responds. Then when they've got their guy, they test him to see if he meets their standard. The average guy with a new girlfriend is not consciously thinking about testing her, he just wants to have a good time and see where it goes. But girls are all business, they're checking this guy out for his moral values, work ethic, ability as a provider, how many kids he wants, and if he's presentable to take home to show mama. What it comes down to is the average girl has a picture in her mind gleaned from the media and church of the kind of guy she wants. You, as the guy, aren't really a hunter, you're a TV commercial who markets and packages himself to appeal to the kind of girl you want. Then you go to where she's likely to hang out and wait around doing whatever it is you do until you get a smile, a look, a bite. Then it's your turn to make a move. Contrary to the popular myth of men as hunters in the dating game, they're not. Most are quietly passive and will not make a move until the girl invites them in with her flirting techniques. It's the girl who really controls the dating pool as long as she's attractive enough to look pretty to most men. She's looking for a hybrid, strong, confident guy who's successful in the real world but dumb enough to fall under her spell and be controlled by her. So if you come off too suave, women get turned off, but if you come across as a successful guy, kinda with it but a bit nerdy, girls like that because it shows you're not too smooth, therefore not a player/charmer, and you're nerdy enough such that she can manipulate you with her woman's charm to get what she wants out of you. A girl usually knows before she's ever talked to you if she's interested. If she is, it doesn't much matter what you say as long as you look like you fit into her cultural ideal of a nerdy alpha male type she can control. Have the guts to initiate conversation with her and simply go with the flow, not saying anything stupid to peeve her off, like how much you hate independent feminist women, since virtually all urban women see themselves as independent, happening modern babes. The easiest way to initiate conversation with any girl is to say hi followed by nice something. It could be a nice day, nice school, nice bar, nice nightclub, nice gym, etc. She's forced to answer back with a mirrored response like yeah, it is a nice day. You can judge by her tone of voice and eye contact whether she has any interest in you. Then ask her for her name, and when she gives it, tell her you're glad to meet her. From then on, it's up to her to ask you your name. If she doesn't, she's not interested. If she does, it shows she's at least minimally interested, so take the conversation as far as she wants to go. Then when it dies a natural death, you either ask or suggest you get together sometime, or ask for her phone number so you can call her up and talk to her some more. Move slowly with a very light first get together that's not even a date but a short checkout like a coffee, an ice cream together, or a simple activity like a game of badminton or a walk through the park. The art of successful dating is to start slowly and keep moving slowly as long as you keep getting positive feedback. Work it up until she emotionally commits to you, feels that you're safe, and offers you her body, heart, and soul as her way of saying she likes you and wants to be with you. A part of maturity is to know there's no one person out there you have to be with and no one else will do. You know there are plenty of soulmates, so if you don't score with one particular beauty, you play it cool and move on to the next one. In a nutshell, girls in general think they're pretty special and expect guys to treat them that way, which is cool if you're honest and ladylike. A certain subgroup of girls play games with guys to test them to see who they really are and if they, the guys, really love them. They're looking for sincerity, but in my opinion, they play too many games trying to test the guy to see if he has this quality that they have very little of by virtue of playing with the guy to see if he's true and pure. Some girls try to get their guys jealous and feel good if he pounds some other guy who flirted with her even though she was the one who did all the flirting. It has happened before and will continue to happen as long as girls want their guys to prove their love to them. Guys in general look to see how brainwashed by the Cinderella Prince Charming thing the girl is, if she has mood swings due to PMS, if she's more emotional and neurotic than rational because she's obsessed with her looks, her weight, and looking cool as defined by frivolous women's magazines, worried incessantly if she's enough for her man and whether he might cheat or fall out of love with her. Girls often have a standard in their head of the ideal guy. If she's dating you and you don't match the standard, she will either try to change you to make you fit or keep an eye out for her dream guy, and when he comes on the scene, she will try to sabotage the relationship with you to be with him. The word that comes to my mind is conniving. Women are generally better connivers in relationships than men. On a more positive note, women are generally nurturers and givers. Even if they don't love you but are dating you for your car, status, and money, you should expect a reasonable amount of compassion and love from her, unless she's a totally cold gold-digging bitch who expects everything by birthright. A lot of girls go out with guys they don't really love but develop this nurturing attachment with him over time and end up marrying him simply because they don't have the heart to dump him, which is wrong love, as I explain in the section about lukewarm love. For the real thing, it either has to be pure love or nothing. When your girl nurtures you, loves you, and commits to you, she expects the same back, and if you don't reciprocate and show her you appreciate it, she will show the other side of her nature. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and when you cross the line, she will fall out of love with you. It will be over, there will be no way to recapture the magic because you violated the inherent code she expected from you, and once you blatantly disrespect a woman, be it by neglect or treating her as the prize you won then forgot about, she will never forget it and either love you a little less from here on in or leave you, but she probably won't forgive unless you do some mighty large eating of humble pie and groveling. The woman's most important thing in life is to feel that she's loved even if she herself doesn't love her husband. Once you show her that she's not the most important thing in your life, you're letting her know you don't love her all that much, and this is the cardinal sin virtually all men commit, the one thing women can't stand, which is why you have to give her loving attention all the time if you expect to be in a permanent, loving monogamous relationship. If she says something like "we have to talk" and you blow it off, you should kiss the relationship goodbye or be ready for an angry wife, because more than anything else, women hate to be discounted as trivial since they get enough of it in the real world where men control the power and they've been getting it all their lives. So when their husband, the one man who's supposed to love them, does the condescending, dismissive thing, forget it, it's over. It reminds them of all the times they have been dissed in life for being a girl. They reach their breaking point and won't take it anymore. Despite what the media portrays as a manly man these days, some domesticated sensitive wimp, on a primal level, girls are still basically the same way they were 6,000 years ago despite all this feminism crap going around. They know they're the weaker sex, they were raised on Cinderella, so they want a powerful dominant hunter to come in and sweep them off their feet, give them hard primal sex just like man wants a soft tender woman. Then they want the man to be a good protector and hunter, which means a man's man, the kind of guy who will take charge and do whatever action it takes to provide for his family and keep them safe. This is the instinct a woman is pre-wired with to seek out in a male mate, not a cutesy boy band pop star who's supposedly the sexiest man alive according to some magazine article. That's a media fantasy. I'm talking the real deal here. Mature girls, over the cutesy boy band thing, are constantly checking out their new boyfriends, or if they're single, the guys they come across, to see if they meet these criteria. Most guys don't have a clue that she's checking him out like this. They think she's just going along in this light-hearted romance like he is, but they aren't. They're sizing the guy up and testing him all the time. Girls will often look deeply into your eyes to try to get a feel for what you're feeling and thinking, and they will do all kinds of seemingly stupid things to check you out, like dress casually when you told her to dress well for the social night at your cousin's place, forget to pick you up, pretend to ignore you just when you think she's beginning to fall in love you, withdraw, show up at your place unexpectedly, force you to choose between a night out with your friends and her, get too close, borrow money and forget to pay it back, etc. They're checking you out to see how far they can bend you, how much of a fool are you willing to be for her, how much will you sacrifice your own ego and individuality to be with her. If you can do this, you will get the girl, but if you're a strong alpha male who nobody tells what to do, you won't have patience for the average girl. You will need somebody extra special if you're gonna be her fool. It's all a control thing. A woman is the weak sex out in the world of work, so she has to compensate by finding a man she can control to a certain extent, and that's the gist of the average American capitalist girl's game. I'm not saying all girls are like this, There are some pure nice ones looking for true love, but the average brainwashed Western girl of the modern era is not looking for true love, she's looking for a guy who's willing to be her fool to a certain extent. If you're interested in her, let her know subtly that you know about her little game and play along, but if you're not, just laugh cynically, call her a stupid bitch, tell her you don't play anyone's ego games and leave. Girls don't want a stupid stooge they can control at will, they want you to be able to bend so far, but when she gets too out of hand, if you're really a strong guy and care for her, they want you to act like a father figure, let her know she's being the fool, scold her as if you're her mother scolding a child she loves, because it shows her you care about her to a certain extent. They want to see that you have this kind of backbone to take control when she's being dipsy or on her period. She wants to see if you feel loyal and responsible for her well-being in any way at all. So in essence, girls want a stooge who will be a fool for love to a certain extent, then they want a powerful guy who will take over when the going gets tough and make it all right. My advice, if you come across a manipulative girl like this, is don't waste your time, because she doesn't really love you, only what you can do for her, how well do you fit into her standard. Wait for the real thing, a strong mutual connection the first time you see a girl. I trust my instincts way more than I trust all the pretentious conversation in the world. When I worked in a bar in my younger days, two things I noticed about almost all of girls is they have a greater sense of beauty and accomplishment in the world than they actually do in the objective sense, and if they like you, they will tailor the conversation to make themselves seem like you even if they're not. For example, if you look like a jock, girls will tell you they eat healthy, exercise, etc. even if they don't. If you say you're into music, they will tell about the imaginary band they sang in. If you come off like an intellectual, they will start talking in proper English, using big words trying to sound intelligent. Guys do this too, which is why I take what everybody tells me with a grain of salt and just play along. Most women in America are brought up brainwashed by TV commercials into thinking they're way worth it, and when they search for a man, most really aren't searching for true love, they're searching for a fantasy image that already exists in their minds, kinda like a checklist of attributes a man must possess in order to be worthy. So when they meet a guy that might match this fantasy image closely, they surreptitiously subject him to tests to see if he qualifies, which is why I don't care about any girl who I don't feel there's a strong mutual love at first sight connection with, and make that doubly negative if she barrages me with a bunch of questions about moral standards and material ambitions in the first 10 minutes I meet her, even if I gave her no cues that I'm interested. A lot of girls like this don't seem aware as to how cheesy and insincere they're acting. It reminds me of that scene in the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, where David Keith is playing a character who's going to be a pilot officer and gets his new girlfriend knocked up, but when he quits to be with her and get a job at the factory to raise the baby, he realizes she didn't love him, she just loved the thought of marrying a pilot officer and traveling around the world with him, so she rejects him and he kills himself. Such is the rift between the sexes when it comes to love. He's an easygoing guy with good intentions, she's the manipulative one looking to fulfill her fantasy image, and when he shatters it by quitting the military, it's over. It had nothing to do with him personally as an individual ever. It was all about the image of the type of guy she wanted. I'm not stating this as a negative fact against women, just a fact of life in the real world. Women in the commercialized world are status conscious, and the guy they're with reflects their status. Your looks are a small part of it. They'd rather be with a guy who looks powerful according to the definition of capitalist success: nice clothes, nice car, disposable money, etc. The average capitalist girl doesn't care about you personally, but how well you measure up to a hybrid image of the trendy pop culture guys she sees in the ads in frivolous women's magazines, along with the so-called successful business types you might see on CNN or the Financial Network. Her ideal guy is a white bread, uncontroversial, mainstream, slightly dashing in a nerdy way successful character in a frivolous women's TV show. So if you want modern women, you have to tailor yourself to play that role, like all those slightly dipsy but straight-laced successful guys with jobs in all those shows geared for women. Women are superior when it comes to looking for a mate, and they have to be to ensure their young guns are raised well, but the point is, whereas men are looking for a soft, easygoing friend, Women are looking for a strong alpha male who will protect them, provide for them, look good so she can impress her friends that she can control and maybe love her, but that's the last requirement for most, it's the first four that are really important. A few women are unpretentious romantics, but from my experience, most are way too cynical for that. They're looking for a meal ticket, or at least someone willing to contribute a large portion of the household's meal ticket. Women want to own men and know where the guy is leading the relationship, which is why they act territorial with their guy around other girls and are constantly probing to see where the guy's head is at, to either determine if the guy thinks she's marriage material or if he still loves her. She will try to make you jealous by flirting with other guys or acting like she's got another interested guy if you don't want to be serious about her. A girl is either primally attracted to you right off or not. Unless she's a truly religious type who wants to hold onto her virginity for the right guy at marriage and you don't sleep with her after about 6 to 10 dates, there's no primal attraction there. She doesn't see you as a raw sexy primal character, which means she doesn't really love you, she's just using you for what she can get out of you materially and status-wise, so don't waste your time. Most young women are very discriminating about choosing men, while most men will go along with any attractive girl that gives them the come on signals. This is the great chasm of differences between men and women in the love game. She's looking for some Don Juan moneybags great hunter tribal chief nerd who can be controlled, while he's just looking for a good friend he can feel comfortable with. The resume approach to dating. In my opinion, there are two basic types of people out there in the dating game. 1. The culturally brainwashed people who think they're a great catch because they look good on paper according to system standards, that is, they went to the right schools, they got a college degree or two, they work a so-called professional job, they watch all the cool TV shows, they use the cosmetics advertised in TV commercials, they read the latest pop culture magazines, etc. 2. The more intuitive types who know that all that external, systematic stuff has nothing to do with attraction, love, or lust. I see it time and time again on these dating shows. There are girls and guys who think they're fabulous because they are successful according to the system standards that read like resume. I'm college educated, I work a professional job, I wear goofy loofy shoes, I drive a Jag, I must be a great catch. I'm a picture-perfect specimen of an up-and-coming yuppie, but they miss the whole point. The search for love is not like looking for a job, at least it's not for people wise enough to have not been brainwashed by the system, but there are a lot of people who have been. They think that because they have a resume that reads like a generic professional success story, that they're fabulous, they're a great catch and they deserve an equitable resume, somebody with roughly the same resume of achievements and success out in the world. But a guy like me says, who cares, what's that got to do with love? I'd rather be with a bohemian, unassuming girl who hasn't achieved much in the so-called real world than with some status-conscious brainwashed resume walking around looking for someone to match her qualifications. Don't take the resume approach to looking for love. Most guys are not like this, but some are. Most guys are intuitive. They don't particularly care about your background according to societal standards. They want to see warmth for them, warmth as an individual in general, a kind of genuine love of oneself which translates into a genuine love of life in general, as opposed to being a pop culture clone trying to act cool the way you saw some chick act in some movie or TV show. Some people have this intuitive warmth naturally. They're likable. Some don't. I've seen my share of high-achieving ice queens who thought they were fabulous because they had a doctorate in some field, had a so-called high-status job, drove a Jag or something like that. So what? If you ain't got warmth and some kind of spark for life that makes you original, unique, and lovable for being yourself, so what? I can't stand these manufactured girls that think they're hot stuff because they're following the system's ideals of success, but they don't have 1 ounce of inspiration for the pure human spirit or genuine warmth as human beings beyond what they were brainwashed by. Everybody will deny that they are this person, but I see them everywhere. You miss the boat as to what's real in life and as to what constitutes true love. Wingman/wing chick/wing person. A wing person is someone you go out with just around and to social functions, both for moral support and to be the wing who introduces you to someone you see that you're attracted to, and you do the same for your wing partner. If you see someone you like, you don't go over. Your wing partner does, introduces herself, tells the guy, or girl, that her friend thinks he's cute, points you out and asks him if he wants to meet you. If he says no or he's married, it's no big deal. If he says yes, the friend introduces you. There are now websites where people can find wing partners to go out with. Some charge a fee, others are free. Rentmrrentnow.com. Wingwomen.com. Woman asking a man out. Women can ask guys out, but just like guys get rejected, expect rejection too. If you decide to ask a guy out, you might build it up in your mind, and when you do it, it will be a big deal to you and out of the blue and melodramatic to him. Be more casual about it. Talk to him first, get the vibe, then if you feel it, ask him out for something simple like coffee, not a slam dunk date right off. The big thing about women asking men out is you have to be careful to tread the line between wanting to fall in love and wanting straight sex. The guy might think you want sex, you asked him out, you must want to get taken by him, so be wary of that scenario and don't come on so strong that he misinterprets your intentions. He has to take over if he's interested and be romantic to you, not just try to get you in bed unless that's what you want. The easiest way to ask a guy out is to ask him to an event like a hockey game, so you make it seem like you're both going for the event, not specifically to be with each other. Ask him out for anything, there's no taboo. Just go out to do something casual. Coffee date. Formal occasion date where you need an escort. You have tickets like to the theater. Home cooked meal. Casual, outdoor activity like swimming, golf or tennis. Give a party and invite him. Party etiquette. When you're at a party, be a nice person and make it a point to talk to everyone, even wallflowers. Firstly, it gives you a chance to practice your flirting skills, and secondly, if you're going around talking to everyone, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, your soulmate may be watching from the shadows and determine that you must be one heck of a person. It makes you look approachable. Take it as a good chance to network and meet both business and romantic contacts. For instance, that fuddy-duddy old dude you're talking to might have a pretty daughter he will introduce you to if he determines that you're a nice, marriage-minded guy. Be active. Place yourself near the person you want to meet. Be approachable via friendly body language. Use eye contact. If you happen to meet someone really interesting, get to the heart of the matter immediately, find out if they're available. Too often, out of insecurity, people will talk to you for hours on end at a party or a function even if they're already married or not particularly interested in you. Get to the point as quickly as you can using subtle means. If I were on the hunt and interested, I'd probably ask her if she was married or single. If they're not available, politely excuse yourself stating that you want to mingle and meet new people. If you're both interested, stick with each other. If they're available but you have to end the conversation, either make a date or subtly suggest getting together for a casual lunch or activity sometime. We should get together sometime. Then after you leave to mingle, keep looking back at this person and smiling, then looking away so you can meet again later at the same party when romance is in the air at the witching hour near the end of it. Whenever you meet someone, whether male or female, proper etiquette is a gentle, steady handshake. Don't bother with that phony TV stuff about the cheek peck or anything like it, because it's awkward and bad manners to get in so close on a perfect stranger. The best way to make a handshake flirty is while shaking, cover your other hand over the other person's and squeeze lightly for the soft skin contact. This applies to both men and women alike. Then look them in the eye and give them that extra long smile, like 2 to 3 seconds, then demurely look away as though you're slightly shy. Some people try cutesy handshakes where they will quickly stroke the other person's fleshy inner part of the hand with their fingers, but this is cheap, audacious, and downright crude, so don't play cutesy. In general, These tactics might work on some naive person, but mature people prefer that relationships begin with some sort of mutual common respect rather than some cheap trick. Most people instinctively know when someone's trying to break the ice, especially at a social function. Many will be flattered and most will help you out with it. Some will be nice but so insecure and or so naive tongue-tied that they will be too nervous to talk to you fluidly. In such a case, be cool, maybe go get a drink and try again later. The truth is that most people are caught off guard when somebody comes onto them. Your best bet is to say something, anything, no matter how stupid it sounds. Just keep responding to whatever she says. After about 3 or 4 exchanges, chances are you will calm down a little to bring the conversation on into a more even keel. Practice making conversation with your same gender friends. It's the same way with someone of the opposite gender. To end a conversation, thank the person during a natural lull and move on to another group. If you get a hanger-on, talk about your fake fiancé, your 3 kids, etc. If it's someone you like, offer a future casual invitation like lunch or a group activity, i.e. your local softball game, bowling, etc. Smile, then a handshake. Introduce this person to new people at the party. Bring a lighter in case anybody needs to light up. Offer to help out by going around offering everyone little snacks on a tray so that you can check them out in the process. If you're decadent, bring cigarettes, dope and booze, then pass them around. Don't smoke, brag, bitch, chew gum, put others down, drink too much, get too deep or personal too quickly, invade others' personal zone, 18 distance, swear, roving eye, act negative, come off like an interrogator, play own-upmanship, overwhelm with your presence, be vain, arrogant, and egotistical, do stupid things trying to get attention to be funny, tell dirty jokes, going to a party alone, bring a bottle of wine with a cork so someone will have to fuss and help you open it. They will have to find a corkscrew or go to the store to buy one. You go with them. Then carry the bottle around and offer to fill people's glasses. Maybe bring paper cups with you also to play it safe. It should be an icebreaker. It's tough to go to parties alone. I don't know what it is, self-consciousness, fear of embarrassment or what, but going to a party alone can be tough if you're not a partying type of extrovert. It's your choice. It might be another possibility to meet Mr. Right, but if the stress is too much, it might be easier just to can it and tell yourself you will go to an easier place, like church or a trade show, and flirt there. Walk out of parties you don't feel comfortable at. Whenever you get people together, especially a bunch of young people drinking and looking to hook up, there's a lot of insecurity and ego there, and people do stupid things to ruin it for everybody. If you go to a party and no one makes an effort to socialize with you within the first 5 minutes there, you don't need it, walk out of there with your head held high. They're the snobs, you're not the party pooper. Society has made it seem like a big deal to be in the in crowd at the bar or at the party, but after working the bar scene for several years, I realized that when bars are quiet, people are usually alright, but when they get crowded and loud, everybody starts putting on airs, so it's not a cool place to be. If you're with a drug crowd, anybody who brings dope is always immediately brought forth to the in crowd. The only problem with that is that they're fair weather friends. They don't give a damn about you, just your dope. Once that's gone, they're gone. Chapter 5. Types of dates. Blind dates info. You might have a friend whose wife knows a single girl who's looking for someone, and she makes him ask you if you want to go out on a blind date. It's a weird situation all around because he's embarrassed for asking, you're kind of on the spot. If you go out on the date and it's either a go or a miss, it could affect your friendship. One time, an older guy asked me if I wanted to date his daughter, who he said was pretty. I realized that if I went out with her and the date was a bust, I'd be insulting him and it could affect our friendship, so I told him that I was the type of guy who goes out on his own and finds his own thing, and we let it go at that. It's the best answer you can give to get out of a blind date. I doubt that I would ever go on a blind date since the odds are against finding your soulmate on one. I believe in love at first sight so much, and it's so rare that I just wouldn't bother with a blind date. If you do want to go out on a blind date, the first thing for men is looks, the thing for women is his job. Ask him to subtly/secretly get you a recent picture of the person, but I must warn you that if it's his sister or cousin and you see her picture and don't like her, it's an insult to him, so be very careful. In the interests of common courtesy, go out on the date anyway and just say you weren't meant for each other. Don't build up your hopes for a blind date. Just take it cool and see what happens. If you're a girl, don't have the guy pick you up at your house for security's sake. Meet at a bar somewhere. A good blind date is to talk on the phone, arrange to meet at a public place for coffee or drinks, then if you like each other, you can decide to do something right there, right then. If not, you both split and that's it. If you learn anything bad about the blind date between the time the date is made and you go out like he just got out of jail, call and cancel, saying you either have to work or that your ex-husband is courting you again. If you're supposed to meet your blind date at bar X, get a friend, preferably an opposite-sex friend, to go in first so the blind date doesn't suspect anything. Find her based on your description, then come out and tell you what she looks like and whether you should go through with it or simply phone the bar and tell her you can't come. In the dating world, Friday or Saturday is the big time, while Sunday to Thursday aren't. In order to avoid excessive pressure, make the date for a weeknight, so if it turns out to be a dud, it's not a big Saturday night failure type thing. Sunday night should be a good, non-pressured date night. Don't make the blind date for a meal like dinner, because if it's a drag, it will be a real drag if you have to spend an hour eating with someone you don't like. If you go for drinks and like them, you can decide to go to dinner right there, but not before. Call your friend and tell him how the blind date went. If you're playing Cupid, the best way to get a love match going is to have a small party, invite both singles and seat them together without them knowing that you're setting them up. One could know but not the other. This works for any activity like going out to the lake on Saturday. Invite the two singles without them even knowing you're setting them up. In the final analysis, some blind dates turn into marriages, but the important thing is that you don't want to insult the person playing Cupid, so play it cool. Blind date dating websites. CrazyBlindDate.com, you agree to go on a blind date. AskMen.com. BlindDate.tv. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/blind_date. imdb.com/title/tt00926666, movie blind date. uni-television.com/blind date. worstcasescenarios.com. Lunch dating website /lunch dates info. A big thing for professional type, working people seems to be lunch dates. They're safe and they have a structure. You know that no matter what, it will last maybe 15 minutes to an hour or so, and that's it. It's a great way to check someone out without the risk of a full-fledged night date. There are dating services which specialize in lunch dates. One such franchise is called It's Just Lunch, where they try to pair professional types for lunch. The idea behind lunch dating is: it's quick. It's cheap. You see someone face to face. It's no big deal either way. The dating websites I saw seem to be directed at busy professionals. It's Just Lunch.com. Lunchappeal.com, singles events and matchmaking service for Syracuse singles and CNY singles. Lunchdates.com, Boston dating service. It's Just Lunch Milwaukee.com. It's Just Lunchblog.com. It's Just Lunch Chicago.com. It's Just Lunch Washington.com, singles in Washington, D.C. It's Just Lunch Minneapolis.com. OnlyLunch.co.uk. LunchActually.com, dating Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. It's Just Lunch Calgary.com. It's Just Lunch Vancouverblog.com. It's Just Lunch Denver.com. It's Just Lunch Singapore.com. Lunchdate.com. Dinner dates info. Go to number 641 at the library for several hundred cookbooks. Clean your place up. Set a nice table with flowers, candles, soft music and wine. Cook something nice but not too complicated. Have a romantic dessert ready like strawberries dipped in whipped cream. Have a few drinks before the meal to loosen the mood, preferably exotic. Make him feel comfortable in your home, for instance, not too sterile and clean that he can't relax. Always have alternative activities ready like a board game, card games, etc. Play light love music on your stereo. Have a few things around like a dimmer switch, a lava lamp, incense, fire in the fireplace, candles, an erotic sculpture or picture, an erotic book on the coffee table, a soft carpet, a cool fiber optics lamp like I saw in the Edmunds Scientific catalog. EdmundsScientific.com. Group blind date. Some businesses offer dates where they invite several people for supper at a restaurant. The disadvantage of the group blind date is that you go and within a minute you decide you're not attracted to anyone there, so now you're screwed for the next 3 hours having to fake it, and you do this over and over again. It's almost easier to join one of them wine dinner clubs where there is no mating pressure. A bunch of people just get together to go out, eat and relax. After every date, you click of a box that says yes or no. Your dates do the same thing. Then later on the host goes through everybody's checklist looking for matches. When they find a match, they tell both you and the other person. You can then call each other up if you want. If you can make it through a few phone calls and emails, set up a date. Even though you technically met for 3 minutes, you really don't know each other, so be cool, take it slow, and ladies, play it safe. Used date party. A used date party is a party geared for available singles where everybody who comes brings an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend who is currently single and looking. It's a great theme for a party and a great way for a bunch of available singles to get together. GreatBoyfriends.com. GreatGirlfriends.com. Websites where everybody on them has been recommended by ex-lovers.